The meeting of the BMR District School Committee for June 20th to order. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could remain standing, we're going to do a moment of silence for one of our district teachers. Her husband passed away suddenly, Krista Libro. Thank you. We will move to introduction of members.
Diane Robin, Blackstone.
Erin Vinacco, Millville.
Brian Faulkner, Millville.
Morgan McCarthy, Blackstone.
Kathy Robinson, Millville.
Wendy Greenstein, Blackstone.
Mike Buckley, Blackstone.
Steve Tringali, Millville.
Bill Chaplin, Blackstone.
Kim Shaver Hood, Superintendent.
And welcome to Morgan McCarthy, our new student representative. We will move to approval of consent agenda A items, which is use of school facilities, field trips, minutes.
Motion to approve consent agenda. There's just A, right?
Yes.
Consent agenda A.
Motion by Ms. Robbins.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Robinson. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Our first public forum. So if anyone would like to come forward, this would be your opportunity.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Just very briefly, I just wanted to share a very quick report on the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. As you may know, we did return this past Sunday very early in the morning. I shared a parent survey with all the parents. I had an email distribution list to all the parents who were sending a son or daughter on the trip. And I sent out a survey that I would like to share with you. So with your permission, I'd just like to approach the bench.
Bang that gavel.
Again, to keep it brief, I'm not going to go through it. I just want to share that I believe there's a lot of positive feedback for potential future trips in this, and I believe the feedback was both constructive in nature in the sense of, you know, giving me and the teachers an opportunity with your blessing and with your future approval for future trips. But I also felt the feedback was positive and supportive of future trips as well. The only thing that I'll bring public is, you know, the last question: would you recommend this trip to future 8th grade families? And 100% of the families that responded to this survey did say yes. With your blessing, you know, because of the timing of this year's trip being so late in the year, in an ideal situation, I would turn around and look for an official approval for the following school year to allow families to save up over the summer. With your approval, I'm not seeking official approval, but I would like to hold an informal meeting with 7th grade families with the caveat that an official approval has not been given by school committee. However, you know, I don't think it will hurt much if, you know, 7th grade students started saving just a little over the summer, and 7th grade families and parents may know a roundabout price point of a trip. And right now, very informally, I'm looking at possible April of 2014. But again, that would be submitted officially to all of you sometime in early fall for an official approval. Finally, I just want to thank publicly the adults who went on the trip. Make no mistake about it, it is a tiring trip for many good reasons, but also the adults extended their time, worked well outside their contracted time. Mrs. Finnegan, Mrs. Grace, Mrs. Griffith, Mrs. Riley, Mr. Nurborn, Mrs. Turgeon, Mr. Hook, Mr. Healy, Mr. McCourt, and we had 2 parents that went along with us, Mrs. Campbell and Mrs. Mazzola. So I just wanted to publicly thank them for being a part of this trip as well.
That's great. Questions, comments from the committee?
How many students went altogether?
110. We had about, I think, and I don't know why I forgot this, but I was going to pull this for you. I think we had 11 who were on partial scholarship from money raised during the clinics that the middle school held during February and April vacation.
Justin, can you just talk, I know we're not, tying it to an exact dollar figure, but how much did it cost this past year, and what do you anticipate next year?
$549, and because of the quick turnaround, we were looking at a dollar figure that was most affordable for families. In hindsight, I would be looking to formally propose a trip where we would not be driving through the night, which was a cost saver. But, if I am able to approach 7th grade families, say, next week, even informally, I would probably quote a price somewhere around $630, $640. So maybe about $100 more because, if this is going to be a long-term commitment, I really feel like, the risk versus reward of savings of driving through the night doesn't really work out. And it's honestly not the best to arrive in D.C. at 8 o'clock in the morning and spend an entire day of touring and not check into the hotel till 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night.
Then the other side, you said 110 went. How many did not go? How many remained here at school?
I think 40, 45 or so. They went to the Woonsocket Work Museum, and they had kind of a stay, we call it a stay trip here on Friday.
Any other areas that you think, Justin, that you'd learn from this trip that you would do differently next year?
That's a great question. Based upon the feedback from parents, I think paramount, I spent a lot of time in the informational meetings with parents before the trip on the educational aspect of the trip. Come to find out, they just want to know whether or not their son or daughter, has made it safely to the hotel, and made it safely. We hit a little weather in the beginning. I did have the opportunity of texting all the parents of the kids who went, and tremendous feedback came from that as far as how well I think they felt like they were informed. They received a text from me usually in the morning, midday, and at night when we stayed back at the hotel. But to answer your question, I think the piece of not driving over the night is really where we probably would not look to do it again, even though there is a small savings there. But again, in the district that I helped lead this trip for many, many years before, that summertime is an opportunity to kind of say to your 7th grade population, this is your trip. There's nothing stopping you from looking to save some money on your own for this trip, for your trip. And again, if the price does come up just a little, we're giving this set of parents more time to save. Okay.
So are you looking for an unofficial kind of we're for it right now, or because I wasn't here last year, so
Well, I think it was kind of a late to the game decision, Christmas time maybe, a little bit before.
A little before that.
So it was kind of like hustled together, and like you said, it was really late in the year, and certainly they didn't have a chance to save on that stuff. So I think that it's been successful. So I'll make a motion that we allow Mr. Cameron to informally set the trip for the spring of 2014 and meet with the parents at this time, Mr. Chairman.
for a second.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Buckley, seconded by Wendy and Brian. Any further discussion?
Great trip. I think we should continue it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we didn't just approve it
Yeah,
for last
just,
year. It was a.
In the past, and I won't give you another. We already gave my history lesson for the night. But up until about 10 or 11 years ago, the Millville 6th grade used to go, and then from the events of 2001, that suspended, and then the following year they did a shorter trip. So to reestablish this, I think, is a great thing and a great opportunity as a send-off from 8th grade, wishing them well into their next step in their. And what better place in the nation's capital to be part of? So. I certainly commend you for stepping forward with this, Justin. Appreciate it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous.
And just a second, although in under 30 seconds, because of the success that we found in raising money during the February and April vacations, I do have some staff and myself that would like to partner together to look at offering families some opportunities of opening the grounds in the school in mid to late August for a source of revenue as well here at the middle school. So I just wanted a chance to formally share that with all of you in case you start, seeing some things, registration and some publicity. Clearly you'll see a facilities use form filled out in the next couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward. Report of the student representative, so Morgan McCarthy.
Well, this past month and week, there hasn't been much going on. It's mostly exam study, since this coming week is our finals. All athletics ended, baseball, softball. We just had our banquet last night. It went fairly well. We had 3 All-Stars this year, and we just met our new soccer coach this year, Hillary Astapenis, I think? Astapenis. And she's fresh out of college, and she's from Worcester State, so we're actually really looking forward to it. She gave us our summer program this week, and so we'll start training a lot. Captain's practices, we talked to middle schoolers and the high schoolers about how we'll get them ready for summer. The football program has already started their training for next year, which is awesome. They met the new coach. And everybody's finding out about the new retirees and everybody leaving. So that was a rough patch this week with all the teachers that we're going to be missing next year.
Mr. Campopiano pay you to say that?
He did not.
Okay, that's what, just want to check.
Any other questions, comments from the committee? And I will note that our other student representative is Thomas Gallagher. Does he want to be called Thomas or TJ?
I think Thomas. I'm not sure, though.
Okay, all right, well, we'll have to get that sorted out next time he's here. Mr. Gallagher?
He would like that, yeah.
He'll always be TJ to me. He lives down the street from me. Okay, moving forward, we will move towards appointments. So the first one are the 2012-2013 retirees.
Okay. To start tonight's honoring of our retirees, we have a short video, so if I could hope this works, and direct your attention to the TV screens. Maybe. Okay, Andy? Are we ready? Yep. It's not going. Maybe.
He has the magic touch.
No, I just got close.
Here's some more outside. So I can see.
Oh, okay. Can you turn that just a hair? Does it turn just
can
a
move
little
over.
bit? There you go. That's fine. Thank you. What?
Everyone else could have to move. Got no neighbors over there anymore.
Good evening.
Like
I would like to thank each and every one of you for all that you've given to our school district, our children, and our school community. You'll be sorely missed. We wish you well in your retirement, and should you ever wish to come back, you're more than welcome. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
Hi, Denise. It's hard to believe that this is your final year. It's been a great 6 years working with you. You've been a great friend to me, a great mentor, and you'll be really missed. I know you're going to enjoy retirement with your family and your grandchildren, and I'm sure you'll be in touch.
Hi, Denise. I just want to say best wishes as you retire. Thanks for all your help and support the past couple of years. We're neighbors. My first year here, and you always were willing to answer questions. I enjoyed some lunchtime chats and walks around the track. And I wish you much happiness and health as you retire, and plenty of time to travel and spend moments with your grandchildren. Good luck, Denise.
Mrs. Morel, good luck in retirement. You're a really inventive gym teacher, and we do a lot of interesting games, and I definitely had fun in your class. Have fun.
Thank you, Mrs. Morel. We wish you a happy retirement.
Good luck, and we'll miss you.
So yeah, I'm going to miss Mark a lot. He was my unofficial mentor for my last 12 years of teaching. I feel like he's, a great teacher, great with the kids, always giving me great advice, and really going to miss him. He's going to be a huge loss to the district.
Mr. Campbell, thank you for being such a great teacher and helping improve, like our English skills and our writing skills.
Mr. Campo, congratulations. Well-deserved retirement. You've been a great friend and a great teacher here at BMR for many years, and I wish you the best.
Mr. Campo, you've been a great NHS advisor. You've kept us on task all year, and we wouldn't have done it without you.
The skills you taught us both in class and in organizations like NHS will forever be with us, and we wish you the best in retirement. Thank you, Mr. Arnold, for your music teaching, and we wish you luck. Thank you, Mr. Arnold, for always being there, for always being such a great supporter.
Felice, I just want to say thank you so much for all your help in the three years that I've been here. You've been an absolute support to me every step of the way. I wish you so much happiness and joy in your retirement.
Hi, Mrs. Bushman. You were a great teacher. I was honored to have you my freshman year, and I wish you the best. And yeah, happy retirement.
Hey Felice, it's been great. I've learned a lot from you over the past couple of years, and I hope that everything goes well for you in retirement.
Hey Ann, wish you lots of luck in your year of retirement. Just remember I'm a year behind you. I've cried many times, but most of all, a good friend, and thank you for all the knowledge that you have given me in teaching. Good luck.
I wish you luck on your retirement. You were the best teacher ever. Thank you for teaching us all the good stuff that you did. You were the best teacher ever. The best part of this year was being around you. Thanks, Mrs. Signoli. You're the best teacher. Thank you for teaching us the technique of hold your horses. Mrs. Signoli, because you're gonna give me tacos.
AF Maloney friends, your train has come in. Good luck to you in all your future endeavors, and please remember to always leave footprints in the sand.
Betty, Debbie, and Estelle, we'd like to thank you for your dedication and hard work with all the children.
Thank you so much for all you've taught us in your classrooms. We've enjoyed being a part of your class. We miss you and enjoy your retirement.
Hi, Linda. We know you're going to miss some things here at JFK, but here are some things you won't miss. No more RTI.
No more PLC.
No more SRI.
No more SMI.
No more SRC. No more MCAS. No more IEPs.
No more 504s.
No more DCAPs.
No more IXL.
No more IPDIPs. No more DUTY. No, you will miss everyone at JFK. Congratulations!
Hi, Patty. I wanted to wish you well in your retirement and thank you for all your service throughout the years in the district. You certainly will be missed. Now it's time to enjoy your 7-day weekends with Jack. I love you. You lucky ducky.
If we could have the retirees come forward, you're going to have to bring a few chairs up. We would then ask the principals to come up as well.
Who is that up here? Is she up here? Yeah. She's not here.
I'm sure that you didn't think during your last year of school we would be in school to the end of June. Yeah. So that was kind of an extra bonus for us that we had to keep you around because you truly will be sorely missed. And part of what we've done is we've started tradition here several years ago, actually, and we've asked you to pick a book. Unfortunately, we're going to take it back, and we're going to donate it to the library of where you work. And so your principals have the books that you have chosen, and at this point, they will present you with your book. We would like to start with Mrs. Brown.
Thank you, Ms. Shaverman. Mrs. Petrosi, I wish you the very best. It's been a joy and a pleasure. Thank you. Mrs. Sturson, thank you for everything. This is Mrs. McGill. I'll make sure that she gets that. And Mrs. Mortimer. Thank you very much. You will all be missed in the fifth grade hall now and at the complex. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you would like to just share the title of your book and perhaps why you chose that and why this has some meaning to you.
I'm the big film with the stars. When my children were younger, we had met the author, and I have a signed copy and I love the book, so I brought the other children along also.
I have chosen Tuck Everlasting because it starts with the question, would you love to live forever? And all my kids said yes, until you finished. It's an excellent essay.
I chose Ballad of Lucy Whittle because I used to do the Oregon Trail journey with my class in social studies. And this is the story of a girl who travels to California during the gold rush. And she has a really unique voice. I like Karen Cushman. Her diary style of writing.
Mr. Dudak?
I have 4 books a year. I just wanted to first start off by saying that the teachers that we have retiring this year have been wonderful to me personally. For many cheers, I know you guys are excited about retirement, talking about your futures and what you're going to do. But I also know that there are tears as well. I know you guys are sad to sort of move on and come back to school. You gave us a lot of advice throughout the year, and we had a little retirement party yesterday for the high school staff, and we had a wonderful experience. I'm glad to say that of the 4 books, I only read one of these, To Kill a Mockingbird, so they'll be useful for me in the library. The first one that we have is John Morocco, who isn't here, but his years of service was from 1985 to 2013. Next one I'd like to present is Felice Boschman, who isn't here as well. Years of service was 2001 to 2013. Next book that we have is Denise Morel. Her years of service was 1994 to 2013. And finally, Mr. Campopiano, years of service 1977. I wasn't born yet. But we wish you the best of luck, and please come by. We always need subs. So. I told you, I'll pay you $1 extra.
Per hour or per day?
I chose Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. It's a spin-off of Hamlet, which of course is one of Shakespeare's tragedies, whereas this is a comedy, and it's part of the theater of the absurd. And it's enjoyable. My AP class loves it. The first year I taught AP, we went to see the production of it at Providence College, and they enjoyed it very much. So it's one of those offbeat kind of books that I think people would enjoy, and it's something we don't have in our library. So now we are fortunate to have it. Thanks.
Thank you.
The book I chose is The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I read this book when I was doing my undergraduate at college, and in the wellness department we try to show every once in a while, just to break it up, improve video, so on and so forth. And when I approached my colleagues a couple of years ago about this movie, it is a true story. It's about a college gymnast, male gymnast, Dan Millman, who, through the wise efforts of a mentor, learned to make better choices for himself and to persevere. And when I say to you, we tell our students they're going to watch a video, they get all excited and everything. You can hear a pin drop And by the time they see the end of the video, they're already asking who's Socrates and who's this and who's that. And now they have the book. I always say, go to the library, read the book. And now I'll actually have a copy for them to read. So once they watch the movie, if they want to know a little bit more about Socrates and how Dan got through all his injuries, so on and so forth, they'll be able to read it and really get the full message of making better choices for themselves.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Cameron?
Mr. Arnold, we have a presentation of a book that you chose here. I do want to share that, and many people might know this, the middle school has had a year-long celebration of community heroes. And we had our 8th hero was Mr. Arnold in a surprise assembly. We really stole a scene from Hollywood from Mr. Holland's opus. And we had our 8th grade band during the whole assembly behind a curtain. It was quite the memory.
And they were quiet.
They were
knew
quiet.
they were there.
And Mr. Arnold was asked to come up and conduct the 8th grade band, and just a remembrance of it, because there was not a try-eye. Usually, when you have you're looking at an audience of middle schoolers who are crying, that might be seen from a nightmare or a weird dream. But it really was a lasting assembly that I know I'm going to remember for the rest of my career. And I think you did replace the hero dog as our most popular hero, as it's been remarked and reflected that that ceremony was probably the most remarkable that we've had in our year-long celebration of heroes. Mr. Arnold, in this book it reads, your years of service was 1981, and I was alive. I actually remember going to Empire Strikes Back in 1981. So not only was I alive, I had a conscious memory. I was not teaching yet, though. To 2013, of course, which is just, your dedication to this community, Mr. Arnold, will be always remembered.
Thank you. I won't forget that one either. I was probably crying more than anybody else. The worst thing, I was doing fine until Buddy started talking, and when Buddy started talking, saying nice things, and his voice cracked, I was done. And I was hoping I was going to make it through. Then the kids started crying, and they started coming to me and hugging me, and that was it. I hid in the cafeteria, right behind the salad. There was anything to get out of it. For me, I teach in all 4 buildings. So picking a book was really difficult, because if I was thinking of the elementary school in K1, 2, 3, it would have been The Ugly Duckling. Let kids know where they start and how sometimes things can go really well, even if they may not start as well and maybe are laughed at a little bit. But eventually I just went and I said, for the middle school or the high school, they was beginning, since now we do a lot of writing and a lot of things need to be known, pick the Oxford Dictionary of Music, and it's got quite a great bunch of material, but not only people, but of terms. And if they need to write an essay for Mr. Schaefer or my replacement, Mr. Ireland, a very nice gentleman, this will be a nice resource for them. And by the way, it was only about 3 days I was here, it feels like. It's gone by that fast. I'm very jealous of Mr. Ireland. I'd like to start all over again, but at 61, we'll let him take over. Thank you.
And I have a book for Mrs. Signoli, who actually, I'm going to miss the classical music. Anytime I'm walking through the building, it just comes floating through her into the hallway. She always has classical music playing in the background during lessons, and she really brings, with a creative flair, a lot of the lessons to life. I've seen some amazing science and English language arts, social studies, and math. And so, as you could see from the videos, the kids adore her, and she will be missed. So, I'll present this to her.
And if I may, I have 2 people who aren't here with us tonight. The first is Linda McGill, otherwise known as Her Royal Highness. I'll leave it at that. So we will be passing the crown to someone else when she leaves us. And also Catherine Johnson, who's a paraprofessional at the complex, most recently in grade 4. And she has chosen to retire. So both of them will be greatly missed as well.
I'm going to open up to the committee. So now, what are you going to do with yourselves with all this spare time? I heard Dudek putting out the word for the
subs.
So, anyone have any great
We call
plans?
it consult. We like consultation.
Consultation, and that raises the rate too.
Exactly.
So, anyone have any great plans or travel or? I'll state it. Anything you want. Yes.
What did I do?
There's a few faces here that have had my children over the years, both at elementary as well as in secondary, and I want to thank you for my children, and thank you for all the children of the both towns and the impact that you have had and will continue to have on their lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
And certainly we wish you well as you move forward and hope that you love a little bit more and you laugh a little bit more each day. Are we going to break now?
We are.
We're going to break for about 10 minutes to go and enjoy and celebrate and I think have cake, right? Do we have cake?
We do have cake.
We always have cake. We always have cake. So we're going to break for 10 minutes and then we're going to go from there.
Okay.
Cake break.
The next thing on our agenda is cutoff date for kindergarten enrollment. So I'm just going to open that up. How do we want to address that?
Were they here to speak on behalf? I don't see them.
I believe they were not here to speak on their behalf. That was in the letter. To let people know, there was a letter sent to the school committee, the superintendent on the school committee, regarding asking for an exception, I believe, in terms of the cutoff date for kindergarten. So it is on our agenda. I will open it up to the committee. Proceed.
I'll start. I know last year we had the same situation or a similar situation come before us, and we did not grant an exception. I think that, there is probably an area of future discussion to have around this policy if the committee so pleases, but I think for right now, the question in front of us, I think that's what we're looking at, is to grant an exception. And I think where we have not in the past, we should stay with that past practice.
I just think, too, that any date you pick, there's going to be somebody that's not going to make it. So unless you're going to go off of a date requirement, then we're going to be going back to this every year. So, and I don't think at this point there is any other, I don't think there's any districts out there that don't go by a date, whatever date it is. There's nobody that goes by, how well a child scores or how mature they are, or so I think you just can't get around the date, and if it's going to be a date, there's going to be always someone who's not going to make that date by a day or two.
I would like to point out, though, in their letter, I feel they had a very valid point about wanting her to be with her peers, and that they're very clearly going to seek out kindergarten somewhere else. And, I mean, I don't think we should be in the business of telling kids they can't go to school. I mean, it is a parent's choice, even if their child is 5 by September 1st, to not send their child if they don't feel they're ready. So if you have someone in a certain window, maybe this would go with what Brian is saying about revisiting that policy, but if you have someone in a certain window, and if we had a standardized entrance, or, they do the kindergarten evaluations, I believe, next week, and that child showed readiness, who are we to say you can't go to school? I just, or maybe it should be put in the hands of a
But along those same lines, Vinako, if you take a look at that and you say, okay, so I have a superly smart, bright 4-year-old that also indicates kindergarten readiness. Do we take that child? And if we do, it's fine that they may be appropriate there, but what happens if they hit, say, a snag or something, say in the 4th grade or something like that, or maturity in middle school or adolescence, and then we have like a 4-year-old, not a 4-year-old, a 14-year-old that's a junior in high school. So we're kind of skewing that.
I think that would be an exception
to rules. And the other thing is that, what Mrs. Robin has stated, looking at the DESE site, there was a question in that letter about 17 districts, I couldn't find the 17 districts that would accept a child after 9/1. There were a few, but there weren't 17. And all of them, without exception, all marched to a date certain. Whether it was 12/31, most of them August 31st. Where's September 1? It was still listed as September, August 15th. You know, it hasn't been updated. The other thing is that if we're going to go to a model that's more, are we ready or are we conditioned to do that? That, you know, opens up an awful lot of civil rights issues. My child was denied because he's old enough, but he hasn't met the learning criteria. So he's going to have to do another year of preschool or something like that. This really gets to a real slippery slope. And, you know, I would look to move it to September 15th. I thought that was appropriate, that we maybe would pick up a few. That wasn't the committee's wish. And for every exception, there's probably a parent sitting at home saying, my kid's September 15th, or my kid's September 2nd. So once you open the floodgate, or crack the open of the spigot, it's a flood. Okay, and furthermore, I think the committee over the next several months needs to examine entry into the first grade, because what's happening is that we don't have any entrance criteria for first grade. So they have to be 5, but they don't have to be 6 to go into first grade. So in essence, if the family in this case elects to go to a private or another school district, now, any of the contiguous towns in this general area, even the choice towns, Northbridge, Uxbridge, Hopedale, Milford, well, it's all August 31st from what I could find. So I don't see anybody else. There's no outliers. So it's not like you can go to Uxbridge and say my kid will go to school at Uxbridge. So I think in order to be fair for everyone, you know, we made a decision here a couple months ago. Gotta live by it.
Any other discussion by people that haven't commented yet?
I just wanted to ask, in your research of those, to find the 17 districts, did you find anything as far as a dual criteria or an exception to the criteria? No, I mean, have you found any districts, or do we know of any districts where there is a date, but there's also an exception process?
No, I didn't see any. No, there was no asterisks. There was no line of demarcation. Now, I don't know how everyone else hears it. Certainly the superintendent can tell you, you know, from her colleagues, if they handle any exceptions, how they handle them. But I know that, well, the incoming sophomore class, or the class that's probably going to be sophomores next year, were the first ones that were affected by the September 1 rule, or the August 15th rule. Before it was 12/31, before that time. And it was a half-a-day program as well. So, you know, and we wound up in court over one, you know, and we were found to be within our rights to set the date, and that was, and we had meetings up front and told people this is what we were going to do, and we still had outliers that were, well, you must be meaning not me. I mean, you're not doing this to me or whatever. And I don't think that's the case with this family, having obviously knowing them, but you know, it is what it is.
So just a clarifying question for me. Has there ever been an exception in this district within the kindergarten date, whether it was the 15th of August or never?
No.
Okay. Any other comments?
And I just go along with a lot of things that have been said already. It's kind of ironic that the buzzword now in education is all data-driven scores, things like this. And the letter that we did receive had something about the readiness skills are pretty much mastered as a 3 or 4-year-old. So that would, you would say, okay, if it's data-driven, why aren't they admitted? But development is not linear. It's not a straight line. It is somewhat of a zigzag. You know, if it was a line graph, it would be like that. And unfortunately, yeah, we do have to set a date. And, I mean, if we don't stick to the date, we'll have nothing but continuous judgment calls, every single student. So it is unfortunate. I understand you're right. So they may go some other place and then come back to us. So we basically have created a loophole, potentially, that a lot of people, and again,
unintended consequence.
They may find another place that they like better. We may not get these students back. But
which kind of goes to what we've looked at for why we lose kids.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there. Why we're losing students to school choice is if we're letting them start in another district by choice, that could be.
I don't think that if you look at the contiguous, well, you look at all of Worcester County, or even like southern, northern Norfolk and southern Middlesex County, they're all August 31st or September 1st. So I think the only real option that I can see from doing that, it'd be private. And so there's a financial impact there. So I don't think it's a child would lose the choice in that regard. It's not like Bellingham has 9:15 and they're going to go there. It'd be crazy if we would allow that, but we seem like we're all locked in on dates.
And I think we've done our research based on the surrounding towns and what they had before we made that final decision on September 1st. And my caution is, if we were to open this up, it's very subjective. I mean, we do see the assessments, we do see the report card, but I mean, every report card's different, every teacher's different. It's very subjective, and to open that up into a subjective assessment is opening up a can of worms.
So do we need a motion, or are we? No.
Not unless we're changing anything.
Okay. Okay, is everyone good with the discussion? Okay.
Come in, Tom.
Whoops.
I don't. Did she request exemption, or we could probably take a motion?
Did she request exemption in the letter?
The opening letter says, "We are writing to respectfully ask for a meeting with you to consider allowing our daughter to attend kindergarten in fall of 2013.
That was to Kim, right?
Yes.
So
That
this
was
is the
to
second
Kim.
letter asking for an exception? There's a second letter, I think.
I'll see it.
Do you have the second letter?
I see Kim's response, but not. No.
Kim, did you get a second letter?
It was the email. It was the email.
Email, okay.
Should we just make one anyway?
Well,
Just to be
go ahead.
safe? I make a motion to keep the kindergarten cutoff at September 1 with no exceptions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by, as stated by Ms. Greenstein, seconded by Mr. Mr.
Buckley.
Tringali?
Whatever.
Or Faulkner, or whichever one.
One big happy family, we're good.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Okay, unanimous. Okay, moving forward, our second student representative has arrived, Thomas Gallagher, welcome. Obviously, welcome. I questioned before, would you rather be called Thomas, TJ, what, I know you as TJ, so you say whatever you want. We can say Mr. Gallagher, whatever you like.
Whatever anyone wants. I'm Thomas, TJ, Tom Volunteer, anything. So.
Okay. Do you have any report that you want to provide?
None, actually.
Can you on the run from somewhere where you're just
Wasn't you supposed to report on the advanced physics curriculum?
I'm taking that next year.
I was just saying,
I'll be in that class next year.
could they maybe sort of introduce themselves, give a little bit about their background going forward?
We can do that for the.
Morgan McCarthy, obviously. I'm a 3-sport athlete at BMR. I've played varsity since my freshman year for soccer and softball. I just made varsity last year, my junior year. I'm injured all the time, so I'm always accident prone for every single season. I've not gone a full year without being injured. I'm the president of National Honor Society next year. And I'm part of Cancer Fundraiser Awareness, and I'm co-president to that right now for next year as well. And we're hoping to get more members for that next year. There's only about 5 of us now that all the seniors just left.
What was the name of that? I didn't catch
It's
it.
Cancer Fundraiser Awareness. So we do bake sales, sell ribbons at lunches, put up posters, do walks in different communities. We're hoping to do a ski trip next year to raise money.
Good.
So
Can you also sing a wonderful national anthem?
I sing the national anthem for most school events, actually. So you'll probably hear me around.
Should we get that onto the agenda for a future
Maybe.
meetings?
Yeah,
That should be the beginning of every meeting then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you out?
I'm Thomas Gallagher. I'm a junior, going to be a senior at BMR. I am the senior public relations officer. I'm the vice president of student council. I've done cross country, indoor track, outdoor track, basketball, try different things. I'm the representative for the Regional Student Advisory Council, which meets in Assabet Valley Tech in Marlboro the first Wednesday of every month. It's kind of like a student government workshop thing. I'm a student mentor, and that's about it.
Band? Very
good.
Oh yeah, marching band too. I'm in the marching band. Forgot about that one.
Good thing Buddy's not here.
Yeah, he left.
Well, welcome to the both of you. We look forward to a great year.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is we are going to move this to, oh, sorry, I had that checked off already, I'm sorry. 2013-2014 elementary handbook, so you can come on up.
Did he really think they were sitting here?
I don't know, that was, I can't really check things off.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening. Would you like us to go through each and every change? Some of them are just really updating dates to reflect next school year, updating names of school committee and other names for appointed positions, and then add that contact information. And then also on page 5, we updated the school calendar for next year. Then to reflect the Common Core, we've aligned the ELA and math for grades K through 5 to the Common Core. And then moving to
Homework and study habits.
Yep, do you want to take that?
Sure. The study habits and homework, we just made a little bit of a clarification. Instead of defining, we just deleted a paragraph that essentially defines what homework is, because we felt that that's known to everyone. So the paragraph read, homework is an assignment letter, written or otherwise, that is given to the student by his/her teacher, which is to be fully completed by the student either at home or on the student's own time. And we just felt that that was self-explanatory, so we deleted that. And continuing under that, page 25 of the revised version, under parent responsibilities, we changed the first sentence to state parents should feel free to contact their child's teachers regarding any aspect of the homework policy. From that, we made it state parents should feel free to contact their child's teacher regarding homework concerns, because we felt that most parents, when they contact the teacher, it's not about the policy, it's about the homework assignment. And then continued with, if a parent has additional questions, they should contact the principal. So the first line of communication should be with the teachers and then with the principals if it's ongoing. Any questions about the homework? Or that sounds okay. Moving on to page 29, the cafeteria rules. We deleted the last 2 sentences about loss of recess for the 3rd time will result in a letter being sent home informing parents of the problem. A 4th incident will result in a student being referred to the principal. We just felt that really recess types of issues, we have ongoing communication anyways, instead of keeping tally of 1st time, 2nd time, 3rd time, because sometimes they're minor instances, and when would it be? Would it be within the month, or would you do it within the trimester? And it just didn't seem clear. So we just felt there's communication anyways around that, and we opted to delete that.
And additionally, behavior in the cafeteria, we really hesitate to take away recess. Kids need to be outside, they need to get fresh air, and they need to run around. So if there's a concern about behavior in the cafeteria, we need to address that in that particular setting rather than taking recess away.
I actually have a question about that. I believe in the new nutrition law, it actually says that you cannot take recess, or you cannot take the physical activity time away as discipline. Have you done anything to implement that part of the nutrition policy?
It's a struggle when children go out for recess and have inappropriate behaviors during that time. So there are times when we do continue to have students stay in for recess, and that time we typically try to just talk to them, talk about the behaviors.
And usually it's a last resort, because I feel like sometimes you have them sit aside first, you try less, you don't, unless it's something really physically aggressive, they usually sit outside, and then if it continues, it is a logical consequence if you also look at it from that perspective. So.
Yeah, I think that part of the policy is probably tougher, being there's only one recess. But I know I made it very clear last year when we were approving it, that I wanted to make sure we were approving it because it was going to be followed, so the whole policy.
Okay. On page 30, under field trip nurse, we changed the fourth bulleted item from, the field trip nurse will have use of a school-provided cell phone for the duration of the trip. We changed that to the field trip nurse will use a cell phone for the duration of the trip. We do not provide cell phones. And then on page 33, under books, equipment, and supplies, we deleted the word supplies. So it did say the school system provides all books, equipment, and supplies that a student will need for all his or her homework. Two, the school system provides all books and equipment that a student will need for all his or her schoolwork. And that is because we do send home supply lists, and we have for quite some time. So we don't necessarily provide all of the supplies that students need.
And of course, that there's a financial need. Certainly, we have supplies for that. So it's not eliminating that aspect. It's just we're not going to be being able to provide supplies for everybody.
Absolutely, we would never have a child go without something that he or she needed.
Sure. The gym sneakers, we're just changing the statement from stating students are required to wear a pair of sneakers for use in their physical education classes in the school gymnasiums. Instead of that, we're going to state students are required to bring an additional pair of sneakers for use in their physical education classes in the school gymnasiums. And that just reflects what we're already doing, really. Just being more clear about that. Under the same page, sick or injured children, where we want to add another statement, your child must be fever-free before returning to school. We frequently hear the nurses state that, and then when we're combing through the student handbook, and it's not stated there, and that is, you need to be fever-free to come back to school. So that we put that statement in.
And student dress, it did originally say that no clothing or adornments, makeup, hair color, rub-on tattoos, etc., are to be worn which are considered disruptive to the educational process. No clothing or adornments, makeup, hair color, etc., are to be worn which are considered disruptive to the educational process. This determination is at the sole discretion of the building principal. Wheeled footwear is dangerous and destructive to our buildings, and it is not allowed at school. We changed that too. Students will be expected to exercise good judgment as to appropriate dress. Students should come to school dressed in a fashion that does not inhibit either the teaching or learning processes or promote an unsafe environment. It is expected that students will demonstrate good taste in this manner and will take pride in their personal appearances.
And then the final part, social invitations, we just wanted to add a statement. Staff are unable to provide contact information, and that's more of just a confidentiality piece. Obviously, classroom teacher by classroom teachers, some teachers might get a list from parents who are willing and okay with it, but it just got to a point where it takes them out of being the responsibility for doing out-of-school social gatherings and giving contact information. Some parents felt uncomfortable with that. So we just felt that it should be stated in the handbook.
Other questions from the committee? Comments? Okay, I'll be looking for a motion then.
I move that we accept the elementary handbook changes as presented.
Motion by Mr. Buckley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fanaco. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, moving forward, the next item on our agenda is ratification of Educator Association contract, which we are going to move until to next week for the fact that the members that were not on the negotiation committee did not get the information, the full information. So they're going to get that tomorrow, and we will address that next week as planned. Question?
We haven't asked for a workshop.
Okay, subcommittee reports, I think we can pass over, because we'll pick that up in July. Report of the superintendent.
Okay, thank you. MSBA, the JFK AFM is at the architect with design. We should expect that back shortly. BMR, we're still in the house. It's not been posted on the calendar that we have seen yet, and so we're going to start calling some folks that we know to see if we can get that moving. Millville, as you know, I received a letter that has invited us into the feasibility study. What I would like to do is to ask for a workshop next Tuesday. I know that you have an executive session posted for Tuesday at 6. If we could meet at 5, Mr. Gould will be here to explain. We have 4 options for borrowing of the money of the feasibility study. He would like to go through that option so the committee can make a decision on how you would like to move forward with the MSBA project, proposed project for Millville.
Could we possibly do that a little bit late? I know that we have something at 6, but 5 is just a little tough for me next Tuesday.
Well, I think
Our didn't we miss
6
that
o'clock
one?
is open.
is open.
Oh, okay. So
we
all
could
right.
just
well,
do, but we have to
do
change
5:30
the
's fine.
posting.
Yeah, could we do 5:30, because
Sure.
there are a couple things that we need to do that night. If we could start with a workshop, so we could explain, Mr. Gould could, well, maybe we'll do that second. What we would like to do is to post a brief meeting so you can vote on a couple of things, and then we will ask Mr. Gould to come in for the workshop. Okay, so if we start at
about
5:30?
5:30 is fine.
Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and don't forget to vote next Tuesday. It is the Senate special election.
Can I ask a quick question on the, so do we have anything definite for JFK in terms of,
Make the play.
what was it called, boots on the roof?
No, not yet. We're still waiting to get information back from the architect. Hopefully by then, we will receive something that will be able to give you a little bit more definite time frame.
And was our, is our rep,
Kevin Kuros?
Kuros, can he help us with any way in terms of the BMR? I know he's going to be a reader at the complex next week. Can we have him make a few phone calls while he's there? To,
Sure.
move
Yeah.
things along.
Make them work.
Well, we're certainly asking him, even though he's a Republican, we're going to see what he can do to
Make
help
him a
us
bad
out.
person.
Well, can he find Blackstone? That's the question. But that's,
Yeah. All right. The other piece is that we need to have a meeting on. I provided you with the set of motions. We talked about this at our last budget workshop. These motions need to be made in a meeting because they weren't on the agenda. We can't make them. We will put them on the agenda for our brief meeting on Tuesday. These motions will finish up the budget process, allow the transferring of money from E&D, as we talked about in the workshop.
but wouldn't we do that at the July 15th meeting? Or the July 11th meeting?
We need to do this so we can send assessments, and then we'll have another set of motions for you on the 11th.
Okay.
All right, so that pretty well takes care of those 2 items. Personnel update, you have a leave of absence being requested from the middle school math. It's a 6th grade. She's asking for a leave for the full school year. You also have a request, the team chair at the high school, who's been out on a leave this year, would like to return for 2 days next year. It's in the budget. And then, so it would be my suggestion to approve both those requests.
Can you go? I didn't hear the first one. I'm sorry.
A leave of absence, a 6th grade math position,
That's for one full school year.
1 full school year.
Do we have the documentation? Do we have?
We do.
Can we get a copy of that?
I will be happy to send you the letter. Yeah.
I'd like to table both of those until next week.
Okay.
I'd like to have understand from the sped director how he plans to manage that if the team chair's coming back for 2 days. What else is what's not getting done,
and how they're going to approach that.
You're still going to have a team chair at the high school. This person would take the out-of-district that he's presently doing. But I'll ask for some stuff in writing to get.
So this would be, we would, there'd be a .4 position added, effectively.
Well, in the budget this year, there were 14 chairs placed in the budget. One at the lower elementary, one at the upper elementary, middle, the high school team chair, and then the fourth team chair that had been out on leave. That was all in the budget, full salaries, because it was not known if she was would be returning or not. With her request now to stay out 3 days a week, return 2 days a week, she would then pick up the out-of-district students, which this school year the Director of Student Services has picked up. That would then free him to do some additional duties, because we have approximately, 23, 24 students out of district.
I'm also a little concerned about what language covers this type of leave in the teachers' agreement. I know that there's probably FMLA connections there or something like that, but I want to understand if this is allowable in the present language.
Sure.
So I'd prefer that we get the answers to that. And really, I want to know from the SPED director who's doing what and what the model is there. Because it just seems like we just added a point. I don't know, maybe I'm not hearing it correctly, but it seems like we're adding a .4, and I'm just not really interested in adding more administrative personnel and that thing. So.
Can I just have a question? So if they came back 2 days a week, they would have 24 students they'd oversee out of district?
Presently.
Normally isn't, I mean, for the most part, because I used to do out of districts, it's usually one meeting per year, and possibly you go up and oversee the program. So I understand 24 students, but I mean, I'm doing the math, and in 12 weeks you could cover those. I don't get what else you would be doing clerically or for the special ed department. So just some clarification on that, if there's other things you would be doing, because normally it's one, possibly 2 visits per out-of-district child, to my knowledge.
Okay. Be happy to do that. You had asked for information about grants. There's this landscape print sheet that provides you with the current grant information. We're in the process of closing.
So when there's a balance on this, all the way over to the right, does that mean we didn't spend the grant money?
Currently, no. It will roll into part of at the beginning of next fiscal year, but it will be spent in this fiscal year, so we can do that.
What's the Unity? Is that
the big grant that we get for special ed?
Okay, yeah. Well, 10%. So how much are we allowed to hold? Should that go? Is that on a? Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at it.
We will.
Well, that goes 8/31. So.
Right.
So that's kind of a school year outfit.
And
so,
part of that will be used to support the summer program.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that looks like it's about 10% it has a balance. What do they allow? What's the rule of thumb? Is it going to be zeroed out? Is it going to be within 4 or 5%?
We will zero it out.
Okay.
And what we also do is, once we get to a certain point, we have all our bills in for the summer program, et cetera, we'll go back and look, and if there's any balance that still exists, then we'll go back and charge something that we spent money on that is legal, that we can charge against the grant, and that it reimburses us.
On the RTT, right to the top?
Yes.
RTTT. Now, is that funding of the data person in the central office?
Yes.
Now, is there going to be funds for that in fiscal 14?
Yes.
Okay. So do we expect to get another 59,000 or
43,000 maybe?
Yes, we do. We expect to get approximately the same.
Okay.
Okay. Staffing information, currently, here's where we're at, and I apologize, you're going to have to follow along. I can get this to you tomorrow. First grade at the we're now at the complex. First grade has been filled. Second grade, there are 2 positions vacant, and interviews are taking place tomorrow. There's 1 third grade position that still is open. Interviews will be on Monday. All anticipated hiring date for those positions will be by the 27th. 1 special ed position at the complex. The interview is scheduled for the 24th of June. First grade or fourth grade, 1 position is open. Interviews tomorrow. And 5th grade, there are 2 positions open. 1 has been filled. And those interviews are coming up next week. Technology, that's a shared position in the elementaries. The interviews are scheduled for the 27th of June. The next we move to Millville. Interviews are tomorrow and the first part of next week. There's a 3rd grade position open and a 5th grade position open. We're now moving to the middle school. Interview next week on STEM. There's a special ed opening also next week, and then an anticipated long-term math position, 6th grade. At the high school, 1 English position has been filled. 1 is opened, but currently there is a job offer pending. Technology is opened. There is a .5 PE open. There will be interviews next week, and 1 PE position just came open today. Full-time. Athletic director is open, and that's more of an extracurricular, but a rather important one.
What is the athletic director point?
It's just like a stipend.
It's a stipend, like 5,000 or something.
About $5,200.
Yeah.
Special ed is opened at the high school. The extended day has been filled, and the person starts on Monday. The person is Nadine Carter.
Great.
She will be putting pieces in place. We will have things on the web by next week as far as enrollment, et cetera, et cetera.
Nadine Power?
Carter.
From Millville, right?
She lives in Blackstone. She was at Millville for a little bit. So that's currently what you have open in the district. As far as the teaching positions.
I'd like, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman, if I may, can we request that on the July meeting that the new extended day person come in just
Absolutely.
to introduce herself and see what we can, see what her plan of attack is after she's been here a couple weeks?
The PE position that came open, is that going to be posting, or do we have applicants from?
Dead in place.
We have to post it. Just because of the legalities. What I would also, will also tell you is, once we start filling positions, I will start sending you information about who's hired, and if we get really slick with our technology, we'll send a snapshot so you know what they look like as well.
Wow.
Once we
What,
see
any of
them.
the counseling positions?
They're in the process of being pulled and interviewed.
21 Liberty Hill Drive.
And,
Okay.
One other question. Did the science position correct itself with the AD opening?
It did. There are no reductions in forces. We have one voluntary transfer, from the high school social studies. History department has voluntarily agreed to come to the middle school. So that fills the positions. I know. Okay? And then finally, if I could ask for a motion to accept my letter, unless you want to do something else.
Is there a motion to accept Superintendent Shaverhood's letter of resignation?
We haven't put it on the table yet, have
Go on.
we? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Nope. I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion that we accept the resignation letter of Kimberly B. Schaefer-Hood as superintendent of schools with regret.
Second.
Second. Motion by Mr. Buckley, seconded by Ms. Greenstein. Any discussion?
I'd say it's with regret, absolutely, Mike.
And like we have no choice, right, Kim? I mean,
She just said if we wanted to do anything.
Well, it should if you wanted to do something else.
Well, I appreciate it.
Wishing you the best of luck.
Thank
So-
you.
no, thank you for everything,
Thank
Kim.
you.
You've been wonderful.
We don't need a motion. She can
You do
attend to that.
deserve to move on, and we wish you well. Thank you.
So all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Begrudgingly.
Nays?
That was a real, well, you know.
Little pause there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I also really sincerely appreciate the experience.
And just to let the public know, Ms. Shaverhood's effective last day will be July 31st, 2013.
Kim who?
That's right. Yeah, so I know if any of the emails I send you bounce back, I'll know some of you had hand in blocking me, huh? And finally, you have in front of you Mr. Monroe. What we would like to do is to lock him up to do some help with grants, with technology for the next upcoming school year. It's a very vacant position. You certainly, that's a hole that needs to be filled. And that's really to inform you that that's a request that's been made. I also received today the embargoed MCAS ELA scores. Some good, some not so good, but not as bad as what, I mean, some areas are outstanding. We anticipate the math to come out tomorrow, we hope. And so as soon as we can release that information confidentially to you, we certainly will. And that would conclude my report.
Now, Kim, on the position for the Brad, has that been a posted position? Do we need to
No.
post it? Is that a created position, or contractually we're fine just to
It's a
fill the need?
contract service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has he had,
Good.
have you had a conversation with him regarding this, and he's excited about this?
Yeah, he's thrilled.
Well, it also says a 2-year contract from July 2013 through June 2015.
Yeah, that will give the new person some time to get their feet on the ground as far as with the technology piece. You know, right now, we're uploading all evaluation data
Tons
to the
of stuff.
state. Oh, nasty.
Yeah.
That's going in on Monday. And I will be providing you some Teach Point information. It's really amazing what all the data that I can pull out of Teach Point. I can tell you how many minutes each evaluator spent evaluating. We can tell you where the breakdowns are as far as the different groups, areas of need. It's just incredible, the amount of information, which will be very helpful to know as you move forward into having conversations, areas of professional development, et cetera. The one thing that I would also share with you, when I looked at the amount of time one school spent on evaluations, it certainly would may be very wise to put another person in to help. I mean, there were over 4,400 minutes spent just on evaluation. So I'll have all that for you in the next week or so.
Okay. It's going to be huge, too, as far as like all the evidence that has to be uploaded. It's like gonna be-
So I'm looking for a motion.
No, for a motion for...
To adjourn?
No, we have to do a motion for no, it's done, okay.
No, it's
Done.
actually...
No motion then. Okay, is that, no? Okay.
That's it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Moving forward, public forum.
Good evening, everybody. I think I know everybody.
We'll just state your name for the...
I'm Mark Juba, teacher here at the high school. and newly elected president of the Teachers Association.
Congratulations.
So,
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I just wanted to come and introduce myself. I guess I do know everybody here, but reintroduce myself and just say that I look forward to working with you. The teachers, you guys obviously have your own ideas, and we have our ideas, and we're hoping that at least one of my agenda items to do is to make that the district's ideas and to work together. We did work together with the contract that just on our side concluded, and we had collaborative and IBB, and I felt it went very well. I met some of you guys very well, so I liked it. So hopefully in the future we can work that way too. And on behalf of the teachers, I've already thanked Kim privately and wished her good luck on behalf of the teachers. We'd like to do that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments, questions from the committee?
Congratulations, and
And, we look forward to ongoing dialogue, collaborative dialogue, and as we move forward in the district. So, glad you came.
And what I could say, though, is Mark has been a true gentleman to work with, very helpful, and he has some really slick machines that can make some really nice brochures for you, so you guys remember
when
that?
you just leave them here, don't take them away.
Yeah, I'm not. He'd wrestle me if I did.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Committee forum.
I'm just wishing all the schools to have a good end-of-year wrap-up and safe summer for all the students out there, and hopefully they'll be kept busy and active during the summer.
The same, but looking forward to the last day of school at my house. I'm sure it's the same way across both towns. I hope everyone has a great summer.
It's coming up in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Should have been last week.
2-3 more weeks? No, just kidding, teachers out there. I just want to thank everybody who had a part in the planning for the graduation ceremony. Due to weather conditions, it wasn't, Plan A didn't work out that well. But it was a great ceremony. As a parent of a recent grad, I really appreciate all the effort that was put in. Mr. Juba, I got to say, I'm pretty impressed as I walked down the hall and got fresh off the press, brand new literature with graduation pictures and everything. That was pretty slick. I was impressed with that.
That's been like the norm for the last several years.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to get out there ahead of CNN, so that's hard to do.
And you're far more accurate than CNN as well.
That's right. So as Mr. Tringali and I walked out and we were loosening our ties a little bit more, I said, Steve, after this roof project, air conditioning.
Absolutely. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
We'll get it on the list. But thanks again, I appreciate it, and from a recent graduate, thank you everybody here for what you do for the kids every day. Appreciate it.
I just hope everybody in the district has a nice, safe summer, and please enjoy it because it will be short. You'll be back before you know it.
I echo the same.
Congratulations to the class of 2013. Wishing them all a continued success in their next round of journeys. Mr. Faulkner, I'm sure, will make us all proud as he moves on, and everyone. And I would agree that the air conditioning should be something. 2009 was also inside. It was pretty warm. The news in the letter that we have here, when you finally see it in print, you say it's kind of bittersweet. And I'd like to think that, your 10 years here, Ms. Schaefer-Hood, has been very constructive, and you've helped a lot of children along the way, as well as a lot of parents. Kind of bittersweet for me. I was here on the interviews when you came here, when this building was new. I know that you included some great kids in some selection of some teachers that summer, and it was a big boon. I had one that was a 7th grader at the time. But I want to wish you well personally and professionally, and hope you'll bring the same leadership and enthusiasm to the kids of Wareham. They're very fortunate, and best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd like to echo that. Kim, thanks for everything you've done for this building and the district. And, Wareham's getting a great person. They're really fortunate.
Thank you,
Good
Steve.
luck.
Thanks.
And I'll, of course, echo that, as well as the endings we saw tonight in terms of the retirees and always become new beginnings. So, our ending of the school year just becomes the beginning of our next budget year. So we all look forward to that. And that's about it. So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Buckley, seconded by Diane Robin.
Oh,
All
go
those in
ahead.
favor?
Go ahead. Aye.
All those in favor?
Come on, we want to hear it.
All those in favor?
Yes, yes,
Aye.
yes,
Aye.
come on.
Meeting is adjourned.
Okay.